too.
That's what they think of you. Like that's, yo, my man told me that shit. Yo, he's like, yo, you'll know what a company think of you when you see something in black and white.
That's right.
You know what I mean? When you see that shit on paper, you be like, but then, see, the thing
Even
is...
them, but they might not, because they might just try you.
You gotta try. You gotta try you.
The first time they try you. Absolutely.
What's going on, everybody? I am L, the designer, checking in live from Color Command Creative Studio out here in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the Shift Makers, of course. You tuned in to episode 7, straight 7, of course. And as I just stated, this is the Shift Makers podcast. Now, I got some things for y'all. Got a little couple of clips for y'all. I want to jump in. I'm gonna jump right into it. Honestly, we're gonna be talking about some black people in business. The thing that kind of influenced me to do this was a little move Jay-Z made. This was probably like 2-3 weeks ago. I don't know if y'all know like Jay-Z business dealings or what would he be doing in the business world. But my man Jay-Z, he owns a streaming platform called Tidal. And Tidal basically competing with the likes of Spotify, the likes of Apple Music, of course, Google Play or whatever the hell Google got going on. And Jay-Z, he just made a very significant move because he just sold, I believe it was 2/3 of Tidal, either 2/3 or 1/3 of Tidal. It really got black people not just questioning Jay-Z and his business acumen. And I don't want to say all black people, but of course you gotta a loud minority of black people that's questioning, of course, his business acumen and his business dealing, wondering why he did such things. And that kind of made me think, well, damn, we should run a whole episode discussing black people in business, right? I mean, shit. I mean, I think personally that would be a good idea. So you know what? That's exactly what we gonna do. And I got a couple clips from y'all. Like I said, I got a couple clips for y'all. It's really gonna be taking a deep dive into certain clips from a podcast I've been tuning into lately called the Brilliant Idiots Podcast. And they really been kind of touching up on this a little bit. And I really do like the guest that was on it, Wayno and Taylor, I believe her name is, and Wax. Now, the normal host that hosts this is Charlamagne the God and Andrew Schultz. But I believe Andrew wasn't there. But all of that being said, again, I do want to really go into a little bit more about black people in business. And like I said, they, as in the Brilliant Idiots, they do a really good job in just having that conversation. So first clip first, we're going to be discussing, do we place a cap on each other's success in business? As black people, do we do that to each other? Do we have that cap on each other?
Company then sells that company for 5 times what he bought it for, and all of those people with 3% equity get $8.9 million, and they're still the second largest shareholders in the company. Amazing. How is that selfish?
What kills me is all the people that when a nigga did it said, I ain't buying no Tidal. Word. I ain't giving that nigga Jay-Z no money. Where was support black business then? Yo, niggas was like.
Of course, they going into discussing that Tidal deal. Charlamagne was just mentioning the business dealings and the benefits of it. And that's Wayno that you just heard discussing basically people's reaction and how they wanted to support Tidal in Jay-Z's company, which is very, very similar to how they react to a lot of successful black people. Weirdly enough, right?
Man, that nigga, him and Beyonce is rich. I'm not giving them niggas to. I already got Apple. But see, the problem is that there's a face to the name. That's the biggest problem. It's a face to the name, and people personalize how they feel. Listen, I don't know. I never seen a nigga that owns Spotify. I don't know what he look like. I know that he's a young white kid or whatever, but like nobody knows what he look. Nobody's not saying that they're not gonna pay for Spotify. Yeah. They're paying for a service. But because you counting other niggas' pockets, now it's a problem.
McDonald's a clown.
And that's the problem. It ain't only the problem, people counting other people's pockets, but it's more so seeing success and wondering, well, what is this success going to do for me? But it's kind of contradictory when, as Wayno was just mentioning, when you look at Spotify, you don't even know what the dude that owns Spotify look like. But you going to sign up with them, right? Same thing with Apple Music. I mean, you know what Tim Cook look like, but I mean, what Tim Cook doing for us, you did. But, you know, it's just those double standards that we place on successful black people, specifically successful black men. And I'm going to let Wayno finish.
Now, we can't give them no more.
And Tidal gives you more money from your streams than all those other services.
That's a fact.
More money.
If Tidal would have had, let's just say, half the subscribers Apple had. Right. If they had half the subscribers Spotify had, you probably wouldn't have a need to sell.
And as they was just saying, of course, Tidal pays their artists, so pays the artists that they're featuring. So we talking about, let's just say Beyonce, we talking about Kanye, we talking about Wayne, we talking about, hell, Jay-Z, whoever, right? They paying these artists more than what Apple Music and Spotify would pay them. Yet, however, people still have an issue with supporting them, right? And again, the question is why?
You know what I'm saying? But y'all didn't support, right?
Right.
And I think we have this we have these conversations about black ownership, but we don't have conversations about black business enough.
Right.
Because what Jay did with Tidal is great black business. 16 black families are now damn near $9 million richer.
Because of that deal.
Because of a deal that this man did. And I saw actually about there's no black people that work in Tidal. You saw the picture. It's like, yo, man, he bought a company. It's not like Tidal started from scratch. It was a pre-existing company that he bought. So you saw the Switzerland office. Have you ever been to Rock Nation's offices with the Tidal
No, they have not. None of them have.
Family and all that.
Me, you, and Wax went there before when they first opened that shit.
That's right.
Yeah. Remember that, Wax, when we all went there? But that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's the problem, man. Don't nobody know, but it's cool to just say shit. Everybody be like, yeah, that's...
And the ones who talk.
Bro, it's ridiculous. But
And yeah, as he was just saying, he gave up an example. Academics, I don't know if y'all too familiar with DJ Academics, but of course he kind of curates and discusses culture in the hip hop community, of course, the rap community, and sometimes the black community, I guess. And Academics basically took issue with Jay-Z selling Tidal, even though it did, as Charlamagne was just mentioning, I believe he said 9 black families or 19 black families got an extra $9 million or 10. I forgot the number, but basically double digits black families became $9 million richer. Jay-Z did that shit by selling it. Wow. But people took, issue with that because he's like, people like, well, why you selling your business? Why you selling an asset? Why you trying to cash out? But they don't even understand. They don't understand. Well, I mean, if you ain't supporting, if y'all ain't trying to rock with it, not only that, but y'all wasn't worried about what we had going on. And then, too, this is going to help not only myself, but this is going to help the families that was down from day one. Those black families that Charlamagne was just mentioning, they down from day one. This is going to help them out. This is going to push them towards success. So, yeah. And next thing I want to get into is, well, before we even do that, just ask yourself, is it even, with all of that being said, just looking at that example Jay-Z did, is it even worth it putting a cap on each other? Is it worth it putting a cap on each other just because of what you view as somebody else's success? Or not only jealousy, but you kind of scared to approach somebody and ask them how they got that? You're going to put a cap on them in terms of supporting them? You're going to talk behind his or her back? You did? I mean, all of this has to do with putting a cap on each other's business success, right? Next thing I want to get into is, why do we tear each other's businesses down? And again, it's from Brilliant Idiots.
It's nepotism. It's this. It's that. It's like, yo, dog, like, you ain't doing that with none of these other niggas, like nobody else.
What you saying, Ivy?
I think that as a people, we are brainwashed into being, like, pessimistic about everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, we doubt it before we believe in it.
That's a fact.
And it is so crazy because, like, we tear each other down so heavy before we uplift each other, which is fucking sick to me. Like, even like the Coming to America 2.
And I ain't see Coming to America 2, so forget she just said that. But she got a point. Why do we have to tear each other down? Why do we have to look for fault in each other's businesses? Why do we have to see what's going wrong before we even think about supporting, before we even think about liking, before we even think about commenting, before we even think about bookmarking, before we even think about sharing, before we even think about approaching and just giving that person a compliment? Why do we go about the business of trying to hate first? Why is that a thing?
That's true.
Why is that a thing when a black person approaches us and tells us, hey, I recommend you doing this, that, and the third to help out yourself in your situation, compared to when another person does that, we get a little weary. Why is that a thing? Why is we putting caps on each other's success? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do we look for fault in each other first before trying to big up each other? Just we got to really be cognizant of that when somebody the next person come out with a good idea, or the next person comes out with, something that literally will lead to pulling 10 people out of poverty or putting an extra 9 million in a 10 black families' hands. You know what I'm saying? Why we got to tear that down first before we able to build that up?
But that's the biggest problem. I feel like we don't take enough time and due diligence to learn business. Because I had a white person tell me that shit. Yo, y'all be knowing the creative, all of that. When motherfuckers get in the meetings and we start talking about business shit, everybody be sitting there like not knowing what the fuck they doing. And that's the reason why.
And that's the reason why. That just answered those questions, I guess, because we just don't know business like that. And not only do we not know business, why are we scared to ask the questions? Even if we're not in business, we should still be comfortable asking questions about it, because our partner may be in it. Our family member may be in it. So we may be able to support them better by actually knowing something about business. Don't that make sense? I mean, even if, like I said, you don't own something, you could still go about the business of learning about business and the ins and out of financial literacy. That way, when, the successful person that may own something, when they tell you, hey, I'm not able to do this right now because I'm trying to invest in this, you're not salty. You understand what the situation is, basically what was being presented. You understand what's going on. You're not hating. You don't have no spite in you because you get business.
When them jobs come up, they don't consider y'all.
And that's why you can't be afraid to ask questions. Like, so many people nowadays want to act like they know.
Right. And all of that.
More wine.
When motherfuckers get in the meetings and we start talking about business shit, everybody be sitting there like not knowing what the fuck they doing. And that's the reason why when them jobs come up, they don't consider y'all.
And that's why you can't be afraid to ask questions. Like, so many people nowadays want to act like they know.
Right.
And instead of just admitting, like, I don't know what's going on, let me ask questions. But
just admit it.
Fair too, right? Because if I'm in a room that I've never been in before, and I feel like if I'm asking questions, I might get got. Mm-hmm. But that's why you got to have the right people around you, right? If you got to have the right people around you that actually know the language that these people are talking, right? Because then they can protect you. Because if you're in these rooms and you don't know, what's going on, you feel like, man, this motherfucker about to get over on me. So let me just sit here and act like I know what's going on. And guess what? You still gonna get gotten.
You still gonna get exactly. It's people who watch it. It's people who do it, and it's people who watch it. You gotta figure out what side of the street you on. You know what I mean? Like, cause if you're gonna get got, but you're gonna learn, like, it's like learning how to duck a punch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna learn how to duck a punch until you get punched in your face a few times.
Learn from your mistakes.
I use that metaphor in business because, like, shit goes bad a few times, but then you learn how to, and it really shouldn't have to, but sometimes you gotta go through the wrong thing to learn how to do the right thing.
Oh, amazing.
100%.
Who doing your?
And I mean, that's exactly what it is. I feel like, at least, like, you got a lot of people who's maybe scared to ask questions because they're scared they're gonna get played, which is what Charlamagne was saying. You scared you're gonna get got. So you scared to ask questions. You scared to give yourself more information. And all that's doing, not only is it hurting you, but it's hurting the person that you could potentially be supporting. It's hurting the network that you could be potentially building for if you want to launch a business later on down the line. And that business to business support could be there. But it all starts with that one thing. You have to learn the ins and outs. And by learning, you have to ask questions, regardless as if you scared to get played, because as Wayno just mentioned, you're going to get played regardless. Like, bruh, I've been having clients since I was 16 years old, bro. 16, y'all. Which means I've been doing this for well over 7+ years. And what I'm saying is me in particular, I didn't went through mad times where I did work for somebody. And of course, by work, I mean creative direction / design. I did that for some people. And maybe I feel like I was being undervalued. Maybe I feel like I was being underpaid. But you want to know the reason why? Because I was scared to ask additional questions. I was scared to, hey, with this and that, do you feel like it should be fleshed out to this and that? And when I wound up doing all of the work and I showed them the work, then they came and said, oh, yeah, I wish we had it like this and I wish we had it like that, which all that could have been prevented if I just would have asked questions. So I played myself. And I did that a few times over, a couple times. But at the end of the day, I realized that's a mistake and I got to correct that shit. And guess what I did? I corrected that shit. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to being in business, especially in a uncharted territory, if you haven't been in that particular situation before in that particular industry, man, it's your best bet to ask questions at every single opportunity you possibly can. It's always going to be your best bet to ask questions. Always. And that kind of leads me to my next clip, because they kind of mentioned it when they brought up contracts. Again, even when I was back 16 years old, I was making my clients sign contracts. And in turn, as I got older and I started, of course, getting a little bit more bread for what I was doing, people started presenting me with contracts and me with proposals and me with certain type of things. So again, that led me to getting played a couple of times. I got to be honest. I was waiting on checks a couple of times. One time, man, I had to wait on a check for about 8 weeks. But at the end of the day, I got played and the shit ain't going to happen again. I learned from the mistakes. So all of that being said, just don't be scared to ask questions. Don't be scared to waste nobody's time. If that's your reasoning why, get your money, bro. Get your money, bro. So the next thing I want to, present with y'all is this little clip, again, from the Brilliant Idiots. And they're going to be talking about contracts and basically what contracts say about you and how business people that make you sign contracts, what they think about you in terms of what's in it. So
nobody gets any benefit out of fucking you except for the company. And by the way, the company's not even fucking you. The company's just doing business.
Yeah, they doing business.
They want to pay you the least amount possible.
The least amount and sell it for the highest amount, and you get the lowest amount back. Like,
there's a thing called P&L, right. And it's profit and loss margin.
Yeah.
Profit and loss margin.
I always tell people, right?
Profit and loss margin. Remember that. P&L. That's what businesses look for. Profit, of course, and then losses. Losses being the employees, the people who they contracting. Contracting mean contract, of course. So, they're not going to go about the business of signing somebody or signing for somebody that won't lead them to a bigger profit. If they're lost, business is business, people. Business is business. No business will hire you unless they know you, the employee or the worker or the contractor, is going to make them 10 times in return. That's how most businesses operate. Like fast food to corporate. 10 times is what's minimum. So again, that's exactly what's going on in these contracts, man. They're not going to give you all of this up front and say, let's just say they're talking about music contracts, but they're not going to give you no $3 million up front unless they know for a fact they're going to make $30 million off your ass. So that's what it's all about.
Company comes to you with a contract, don't take it personal. That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what they think of you. Like that's, my man told me that shit. Yo, he's like, you'll know what a company think of you when you see something in black and white.
That's right.
Now, I mean, when you see that shit on paper, you be like, but then, see, the thing
even
is...
them, but it might not, because they might just try you.
You gotta try you.
The first time they try you. Absolutely. They try you, see if you go, you know what I'm saying? But go for the bait. Yeah, but I mean, because...
And and like you just said, they gotta try you. Like he just said. It happens all of the time. If you getting out of college, and this is from personal experience, my first full-time job, this was my first one that I had. Got out of college. Look, I knew for a fact I was going to be getting paid more out here in Atlanta than say in Southern Louisiana. So I moved out here and definitely did get paid a whole lot more. But still, all in all, when I looked at, other people in the area, of course, other marketing, other designers, other strategists, different things like that, and seeing what they was making, I still kind of was getting undervalued for the role and the position that I had. But again, they know, man, I'm just out of college. I ain't got no experience. So guess what? We gonna try them. That's exactly what it was. I swallowed it, did what I had to do, upgraded. That's what you got to do. And you, again, can't be afraid to leave. If you know if you ain't getting the value that you work, stop being scared to leave. Stop complaining and do something about it. Next thing we're going to talk about, the most important part of a contract. That's what we're going to transition into, of course, since we, getting a little bit more into the details of what goes into the contract and basically what businesses think about you when it comes to a contract, right?
Because the thing is like people look at the number. Mm-hmm. The most important part of a contract is the terms. It is not the numbers.
Yeah, I'm fucked. I ain't gonna lie.
And Wayno couldn't have said that any better. The most important part of a contract is the terms. The numbers I won't say don't mean shit, because obviously it means a lot. But for instance, if you get in a contract, and let's just go to the NFL, right? An NFL player could get a contract for $30 million, $10 million each year, which means that's 3 years. 3 times 10 is 30, right? Man, listen, in the NFL, there's no guaranteed contracts. Well, at least I don't think the contracts come in guaranteed. You have to have that written in the terms. What portion of it is guaranteed? If there's no guaranteed portion in the terms, then guess what? Tomorrow, if let's just say we talking about Michael Thomas and the Saints with Sean Payton, tomorrow, if Sean Payton don't like Michael Thomas' shoes, or if he don't like Michael Thomas' Brett, or if he don't like Michael Thomas' hairline, or if he don't like the way Michael Thomas run, he could cut the nigga. And guess what? Michael Thomas won't get anything due. This, of course, is just hypothetical. I'm sure Michael Thomas got a guaranteed contract. But again, this is exactly how this shit go. Same thing in rap. Same thing in most business situations. Honestly, outside of the NBA, like if you got a contract, man, them boys could terminate that off rip. And that's because it's within the terms. I know when I write out contracts, my terms is very detailed. My policy is very detailed. And that's what you got to do. I mean, you got to be reviewing that. And it's not saying that I be an asshole, man. My terms only be a paragraph. My policy only be like 3 lines. But at the end of the day, I know, and I'm very direct with what I want. And I establish that. And other businesses do the exact same thing, which is why it's very important that you are very clear and understanding of what the terms of any contract that you sign is, right? And I mean, it all comes with the game, of course. It all comes with what you comfortable with, what you aware of. And, it all comes with, again, how we comfortable supporting each other. Because if we comfortable supporting each other, we may not need to go to certain businesses and deal with certain contracts like those. We may not have to deal with getting got. We may not have to deal with, getting played or whatever, because we can have trust with each other. But of course, that first starts with support. We got to support each other, you dig? And I mean, just going back to one of our previous episodes, this is definitely one of the best ways we could support each other.
Supporting our businesses, by the essence. Don't just look at it online. Giving Black, whether we're talking about HBCUs, our colleges, whether we're talking about our organizations like Campaign Zero or Justice League that are doing so many great things. How are we supporting them? And how do we expect them to support us if we're not giving back to them regularly with our time, talent, and our treasure?
Value, and value. Oh, we need that.
And that's what it is. That time, talent, and treasure, you dig? And, of course, thank you, Mo Facts Podcast,
then
for that
sells
clip.
that company for 5 times what he bought it for, and all...
Shit, my bad. But like I was saying, and of course, thank you, Mo Facts Podcast, for that clip, because that's exactly what it is. We, of course, is looking for that time, talent, and treasure. And, of course, we give time, talent, and treasure with this podcast. And if you are looking to give value back, Well, let me tell you, this is exactly how you can do that. You can go ahead on and go into those show notes. You can go into the details of whatever platform you are listening to this on. You can go into, of course, the YouTube details, the YouTube show notes. You can go ahead on Apple Podcasts, of course, Google Podcasts. We now featured on Pandora, you dig? Spotify, whatever you're listening to it on, we got you. And you could go ahead and look into those notes and consider giving some feedback. Of course, now the feedback can be given through some comments. If you want to go ahead and just tell us what you like, tell us what you didn't like. If you got some clips you want to send our way to help out with producing this podcast, that's extremely valuable to us. Of course, listening all the way through, man, you know it. That's extremely valuable to us. Come on now, listen, man. Hit play and walk away. You heard me? Hit play and walk away. But I'm just messing with y'all. After, of course, listening all the way through, you know, we accept them donations. We always gonna accept them donations. And that can, of course, be done through the show notes. You can go ahead and hit the Venmo link. You can hit that PayPal link, whichever platform you are comfortable dealing with, and go ahead and send us some value. Of course, that can be small donation. That could be a big donation. Let me tell you, bro, we accept all donations. So go ahead and send something our way, and we definitely do appreciate that. And of course, we are presented by Crew Clothing. Crew Clothing, of course, Kings Remain Unified Eternally, can be reached at KRUEclothing.com. KRUEclothing.com. And go ahead, just see the products that they got. And I know they about to release a nice little spring set, a nice little summer set. Go ahead and catch them vibes right quick and check that out. And last but certainly not least, we are also presented by Color Command Creative Studio. If you or anyone that you know has a brand or startup, go ahead and try and give them a little bit of value by telling them about Color Command. Telling them about Color Command. Telling them, of course, Color Command can raise their business value, their brand value. And I heard Color Command is actually offering a free one-on-one. So you can go ahead on and talk with one of the creative directors, talk with one of the brand strategists over there, and, get your brand going in the right direction. And with all of that being said, of course, we appreciate your support. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your talent. We appreciate your treasure. I am L, the designer, reporting live from Color Command Creative Studio out here in Atlanta, Georgia. Episode 7 of the Shift Makers Podcast.